Mark records, "The high priest arose and came forward and questioned Jesus, saying, 'Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One?' And Jesus said, 'I am, and you shall see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power, and coming with the clouds of heavens.' And tearing his clothes, the high priest said, 'What further need do we have of witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. How does it seem to you?' And they all condemned him to be deserving of death."
At that point, when the Jewish priest says, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One?" notice what Jesus does. "Are you the Christ, Messiah, the Son of God?" And Jesus says, "Ego eimi, I am." And then he changes a Son of Man, Son of God question to a Son of Man answer. He says, "I am the Christ, the Son of God, and you will see the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven in judgment." And the priest makes a formal declaration of blasphemy. He rips his garment. He says, "Look, the rest of you witnesses can go home. We got you."
This is one case where Jesus himself affirms explicitly his messianic identity, and that, in my opinion, points to the veracity of the Gospels. If the Gospels are fictions, they're going to have Jesus walking around all the time saying and doing messianic things. The Gospels don't do that, and I think that's because the Gospels are restrained by what actually happened, what Jesus actually said.
Now, what set him off? In the passage there in Mark 14, Jesus says, "Ego eimi, I am the Son of God." Then he says, "And you will see the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven." Number one, that's a virtual quote from Daniel 7, 13 and 14. He claims to be the pre-existent one who comes from the Ancient of Days to set up God's kingdom. And secondly, he uses this enigmatic phrase, "coming with the clouds." That phrase is used dozens of times in scriptures as a reference to deity. And Jesus said, "That's me."
They asked him if he was the Messiah because they need a political charge to take to Pilate. If he says he's the Messiah, they've got their charge. They can go to Pilate. They can say, "He's claiming to be a king. You got to stop him." If there's one thing Rome doesn't care for, it's people calling themselves kings and gathering followers around themselves. And that's your responsibility to stop. That's going to be the case they're going to take to Rome. Jesus says more. Jesus says, not only in that Messiah, it's not just that. I am the one who's going to be given judgment authority. And I'm not on trial here. You are. One day, I'm going to come back on the clouds as the Son of Man and be the eschatological judge. And you're thinking about putting me to death? It's quite a moment. It's a moment in which what the Jews hear as blasphemy comes up against Jesus' claim that God is going to exalt him. And it's the crashing of two ideologies right there in that trial scene.
Did the Jewish leaders understand it that way?
Oh, I think they very, very clearly understood it that way. That's why the high priest rips his robes, screams blasphemy. We don't need any other witnesses. They all agree. They condemn him to death, and he's handed over to the Roman governor for execution.